Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I want to do a complete breakdown and price action analysis into the indices market. Specifically, I'm going to focus on Dow Jones, S&P 500, Nasdaq, UK 100, and Euro 50, which are the best ones that I see right now in the market for a possible bearish kind of continuation. We're going to go into a full analysis, higher time frame into the lower time frame, discussing these indices market and what are some bearish opportunity that we can potentially capitalize. Now, most of these setups I share in my live stream, market update, and in my other platforms as well. So I'm going to share some of the original setups that I share and what's the current development on them and what there are some possible opportunities for the later on next couple of weeks. So I'm going to start with Dow Jones here. If we look at the higher time frame here, we're basically in this larger consolidation, just like how we have been in the COVID time or pre-COVID time before we have the massive bearish sell-off. Now, I'm not expecting some crazy sell-off just like how coronavirus works, but I certainly expect some sort of correctional phase, correctional push down from the overall higher time frame structure. So we can see that these kind of structure that we are very familiar with are known as a correction, and we can see that from the top of the overall correction, we're seeing some bearish kind of price action. So let's take a look at the lower time frame here. So with Dow Jones, I remember last week or beginning of the week, I was talking about a potential setup already here when the price pushes down if we form consolidation in this area. Certainly a good idea that you can see price further push down, and that's basically what we get here in the overall price. Price had the ascending channel on the top of the higher time frame structure. We had the first impulse down, followed by correction. Another impulse down, followed by the correction that I point out, I think it was a few days ago, and it did basically complete that correction and price pushed down once again. The good part is that price broke this previous low and we break it very impulsively on the lower time frame. This is usually a good sign for that further downside is possible if we just get another consolidation here on the lower time frame. Whether or not we're going to form into deeper ones like these that we have seen, or perhaps we're just going to see a smaller correction like so, and price can continue push down. But certainly be a good idea to be on the lookout for a possible continuation of the bearish price action. And we do have quite a bit of room to the downside if we're able to catch one of these moves. I think there's enough risk reward for anybody to potentially risk on this and a couple of indices that we're going to be taking a look more into the detail. Now, definitely looking for a further downside to the bottom of the structure, and obviously for a mid to long term outlook, if we look at the higher time frame, if we can actually complete this reversal correction that we're currently in, a further downside or further continuation will form out after that, then certainly more downside is possible. So let's take a look at S&P 500. S&P 500, if we zoom out here on the higher time frame, again, similar price action that we have been used to. We've been kind of looking at these for quite a bit of time, weeks or a matter of months, when we're seeing these type of similar structure that it's in the market right now. And because we're at the top of the overall price and we're seeing some sort of bearish reversal on the lower time frame, this could be the start of this potential bearish sell-off that we can expect in the market in the weeks to come. So let's look at the lower time frame here. When we look at the lower time frame, you can see that price made this ascending channel to a double top, and then there's a strong bearish sell-off to the price. And I think once again, beginning of this week, I was looking at this completion of the ascending structure, push down, followed by consolidation, and we pretty much get that here today. And this is a good sign that we have this correction here after the previous bearish sell-off, and now we're basically getting another bearish push down from the price. So similarly, watch for bearish correction, right? Because that is how the price moves. Something like this would be very nice, impulse, correction, impulse. So if we can get a consolidation here during the London session that's coming up, and on Friday during the session, if we do get further momentum or further downside, I do expect price to continue pushing down. And this one hasn't break the previous low yet, so be on the lookout for this previous low to be broken, and if price can continue pushing down, then look for further lower time frame continuation to push down the price. Again, and again, we have quite a bit of room to the downside, right? So there's certainly enough risk reward here that we can potentially enter these cells or multiple cells if that fits your plan. And again, if we look at the higher time frame, we're only at the beginning of this possible bearish reversal price action structure. And if we can get a completion, just like how we have a completion of during the pre-COVID time, the further downside here is very possible. Now we're going to look at Nasdaq here. Nasdaq is also in that similar higher time frame price action that we're always used to, ascending structure that has happened many times in the past, and that is a sign of a bearish reversal price action. And if we look at lower time frame here, lower time frame, We have this similar kind of ascending structure pushing the price up very, very correctively. And the top of the structure here, I think this is a very good sign for how people can understand price action, is that when the move pushes up like this, it's actually rather corrective move up rather than a impulsive move up. So that's a difference here that we know. And at the top of the overall price, you can see price initially pushed out very, very strong and no further continuation to push the price higher. Instead is a bearish reversal. So as we know, when the price pushes up impulsively, if there's no continuation, instead it's a reversal impulse followed by a continuation bearish correction, then this type of sell, this type of momentum is rather strong, and that's exactly what happened here. And that's one of the trade that I entered here as well. I think the beginning of the week, bearish push down, bearish continuation, enter the sell here, push down, and there is another lower time frame correction, so I entered with that also. And once price pushes down and then start pulling back very aggressively, then I managed to exit the trade. But I always expect this going to happen, expecting that price can form further downside correction if the price give the price enough room or enough time to correct, which is kind of what we're getting here. We're basically looking at this correction to be a continuation for this bearish sell-off already. And if we can complete this continuation correction, then push down the price is also very possible. And similar like S&P 500 here, we want a price to break this low, right? Because breaking this low confirms another downside from the price, and then continuation afterwards, it's going to lead to a further downside price. And again, higher time frame here basically supports that bias here. Every time when the price does reach the high, we do see the sell-off here. We don't necessarily see the price breaks out of the structure and continue, but we do expect this move down from the price. And again, if we look at the lower time frame, there's quite a bit of room, quite a bit enough risk reward to consider these entries if that fits your plan once again. So that's Nasdaq here, and let's look at a few other indices such as UK 100. So UK 100 also is at the top of the overall structure, as we can see on the higher time frame. And if we look into the lower time frame here, we talk about that when the price is at the top over here, a possible sell here is very reasonable. And we did get this push down, we did get this continuation correction here, and the price is pushing down as we speak. So this one here is basically breaking out of the previous low now, which is good. This is similar like Dow Jones here that we talk about. Prices at this low or already break the low. This is a good sign for a further bearish price action to continue. So as always, the confirmation here will be looking for a consolidation. As we can see, price consolidate here from the previous impulse, and then another impulse and move pushing to the downside. So looking for another consolidation here certainly give you enough risk reward to another downside here is very possible. So UK 100, now let's move on to Euro 50. Euro 50 is another trade I shared, I remember on last week or so when the price is at the top here. I mentioned about a possible bearish consolidation here will lead to another downside here. Now, if we can see, price basically did exactly that. Consolidation here, and we're just pushing down very, very aggressively now. Again, we're about halfway through this consolidation, and if we zoom out on the higher time frame, you can see once again we're in these kind of similar bearish reversal correction. Those of us who are familiar with these kind of price action know that they have a very high probability of working out or at least completing the structure to move down to the bottom of the low of the structure here. Again, few swing highs and few swing low is going to give you that confirmation that a correction and a correctional structure is making. And we can see that a potential sell to the bottom is very reasonable. And we're going to see if the price can continue pushing down and continue lower. But first thing first, I think the lower time frame here needs another bit of consolidation, and manage to push down will be very nice to catch. And again, enough risk reward for you to consider this one, and consider also that if this correction is going to be a bearish reversal, then further downside here is very possible once we get another consolidation to push down. So these are the five main ones that I'm looking at, but there are also three other ones that I think that's also looking very clean. We can take a quick look at them. Uh, German 30 or DAX, again, if we look at the higher time frame here, we zoom out here, you're basically getting almost exactly the same structure. This one is the current one is obviously a bigger correction, but you can see it's basically the same structure, same development, kind of a more of an expanding structure where prices making few swing highs and few swing lows, and then eventually the sell-off happens. And we're getting that already, few swing highs, few swing low at the current structure, and prices basically pushing down as well. So we're going to look at the lower time frame here, and whether or not we have any kind of potential opportunity. I think the sell push down is quite aggressive. So again, a little bit of consolidation to lead to another push down is very reasonable. Another one we're going to look at is Aussie 200. So Aussie 200, again, when we look at how the previous price has behaved, before coronavirus, we have this kind of ascending structure, ascending channel, double top here, M style pattern, and price sell off after that. Now we don't get quite the same thing, but we do have the same ascending channel. We do have the price push down, and this could be just a bearish continuation for this move down here. And I still kind of expect this sell off here from the price if it does continue past the previous low and possibly down to the end of this ascending channel. Next, what I want to go over is Friends 40. Friends 40, again, you look at the similar structure that has happened from the COVID time. We're at the top of the structure. This one hasn't pushed down as much as its other ones like Euro 50 and German 30. I think they're generally going to move relatively the same. We have the same top and same bottom. And again, looking for a continuation bearish kind of price action here on the lower time frame. Any consolidation here would likely to give you another leg down to the price and potentially forming that head and shoulder at the top as well. So to recap, again, my overall bias here on the indices are going to be rather bearish. Again, my bias is also based on the higher time frame and the lower time frame, multi-time frame analysis. What we're getting here, all the indices market across the market as well. We're seeing similar structure, similar bearish kind of price action, and certainly not expecting a sell-off like that during the coronavirus time, but I do expect a correction. I do expect some sort of a pullback or some sort of consolidation, at least to the bottom of the current price action that all of these structures are currently in right now. And I think the U.S. indices specifically are going to be the most favorable one as they have quite a bit of room to the downside and certainly enough risk reward for you to consider any trades or any sell opportunity if that fits your plan to enter. So there it is, guys. That is my complete breakdown and analysis on all the indices market in currently, and definitely looking for bearish kind of opportunity if the price develop for us during next day or into the weeks of December. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning to this one. Any question, comment, feedback, welcome to let me know. And if you like these kind of complete analysis breakdown, feel free to let me know and I can do more of these. So thank you very much, and I'll catch you guys all next time in my Market Outlook live stream.